according to the Associated Press, an investigation of theirs has discovered that the U.S. sent Latin American youth to Cuba to provoke rebellion beginning in 2009. The workers, who were all of Venezuelan, Peruvian, and Costa Rican background, entered the country by posing as tourists and, in some cases, HIV educators. Now, to me, here's the big problem in this whole thing, actually. I mean, you could have a problem with the U.S. being behind some sort of trying to spark some sort of rebellion in Cuba. But to me, the real dangerous thing here is using these people having these people use the disguise of HIV educators.
Absolutely. That it's the same thing that the vaccine program in Pakistan to get bin Laden, that still has public health effects in Pakistan.
You have these countries who clearly need this sort of education. And when you do this, when you send HIV educators over there who are really going over there to do anything but, it continues to spread the disinformation about these diseases. These countries have enough problems understanding HIV as is right now. And because of disinformation. And here we are sending people to educate them, and then this gets unveiled that they are not really there to be HIV educators. So these countries continue to believe in these conspiracy theories that HIV is not real, it doesn't lead to AIDS, you can't get it through sex, it's only a disease for gay people, and all this other bull that comes out. Why we would do this when there is actual work to be done in educating these people of certain countries who are so uninformed because of the disinformation spread. It's unbelievable to me, and it should be sickening to anybody hearing this.
Absolutely.
To me, that's the biggest problem with this story. The rest of it's humorous that we are doing this. But that is dangerous to me. I'll continue. The USAID and its contractor, Creative Associates International, who you will remember, we covered the story of the Cuban Twitter, where a company created a social network that's like Twitter, specifically built for Cuba residents in mind, and it was really a ploy that was supposed to by the United States to, again, incite some sort of rebellion. The Cuban Twitter didn't really take off and ended up shutting down due to financial reasons. And they even tried to find a buyer for it, and that fell through. So I guess we're not doing too well in trying to incite these rebellions over in Cuba. Their goal in this case was to identify possible revolutionaries in college and then expose them to the joys of democracy. The AP points out they weren't exactly successful. This was a strategy that the travelers hoped to spread across the island. The newly organized young people would tackle a community or social problem, win a small victory, and ultimately realize that they could be the masters of their own destiny. However, workers may have had difficulty picking the right marks. They spoke to one of these Cuban college students, Hector Baranda, who was identified as a potential convert, who said that the workers were our friends. But he thinks that the visitors may have mistaken typical Cuban griping as dissident tendencies. I mean, come on now, really?
Great.
The undercover youth were paid.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of annoying. Oh, shit, dude. Do you want to, spark a revolution?
I just have a problem with the garbage pickup timing and schedule. I mean, that's all I was talking about. The undercover youth were paid about $5.41 per hour for their work. USAID continued the program after U.S. contractor Alan Gross was arrested for trying to set up internet access in Cuba. This is another interesting story we should look further into. But
definitely,
I was reading this story and then I had to look up Alan Gross because I was not too familiar with his case. And this story is he was hired by the USAID as a contractor to set up internet access in Cuba, and he was arrested and he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. He's been in prison for 4 years now, and just earlier, I think this month, maybe even just earlier yesterday, jeez, he said goodbye to his family and said he no longer wants to live. He just celebrated a birthday, and he said this will be the last birthday he celebrates in Havana one way or another.
God.
So this guy's basically out to kill himself if he can't get out of jail in Cuba. And we're not doing anything to really get this guy out of there after we hired him to send there to try to incite some rebellion in Cuba, which really, what is it doing for us?
Nothing.
Nothing, exactly. Rhetorical question, Michael.
Nothing.
Thank you.
Matt.
Nothing.
In answer to that question?
Thank you.
Nothing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was hoping I would get an answer.
It's probably doing something. There's probably some type of boondoggle or some type of just even the contracts.
Someone's making money. Yeah. Put it that way. The guys who are making Cuban Twitter, for example.
Guys who are making Cuban Twitter. There's something in it for them.